Hello,
Hi,
how are you?
fine. How are you? Sorry.
No, no worries. I'm doing great.
Good.
How are you doing health-wise?
I'm I am on the mend. Can you not you can't see me, can you?
I cannot see you.
Let's see. How do I fix that? Start video.
There
There.
you go.
Uh,
I can see you now.
I'm good.
That's
I'm
good.
back in the saddle.
What is it?
I'm back in the saddle.
You're back. Are you back fighting or?
No, I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm working out with a trainer, but I'm not gonna go there yet.
Yeah. No, I started jujitsu classes
Oh,
last.
you did?
Yeah.
Pretty fabulous, huh?
Yeah, in Lakeway. It's great. I mean, just for personal defense, self-defense, it's just amazing. And it's a workout. Like,
But it's an adrenaline workout. I mean, aside from the obvious, the cardio
yeah.
and the fervor, but it's wildly, I don't know. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't sit Jitsu, but I love my Muay Thai.
No,
Yep.
I love it. I mean, I got hooked. I'm going every day now. I'm going today at 6. Catch me in 3 months. I'll be black
I
belt.
know. I'm serious. It's so addicting.
Yeah. Good. Bridget, thank you so much for making time for me. I know you're
Sure.
a pretty busy woman. Thank you so much for hopping on. I mean, the main thing is just to get to know your story, right? Ever since I met you, I just saw this aura on you. You just have that business personality done.
Do I?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Like you you do obviously you have a team that you work with and like they make things easier for you, but there's certain characteristics of a leader that they must be there for people to follow you. So it's good just to get to know your story and get to know you a little bit more for the audience as well. So who's Bridget? Where are you from? How do you get started in business? And where you at now?
My name is Bridget Dunlap. I am from Houston, Texas. I got started in 2000, yeah, 2005 with my first bar on Washington Avenue, which was called Pearl Bar. And again, it was kind of going in like I did with Rainey Street, except for it was maybe 5 times the size of Rainey Street.
Yep.
And I went in and had this incredible surge of success, paid back my investors in 4 months, made $1 million very quickly. From then, that place, within that year, I came to Houston and saw Rainey. I came to Austin, excuse me, saw Rainey and got the 4 corners that I did on Rainey Street and just replicated the same spaces, kind of different town, different look, but same.
As in pro bar.
Well, the first one was Pearl Bar. That's my, and then I started with Luster Pearl here, which is
Mhm.
my alter ego, Clive Bar,
Yeah.
Bar 96, which was their love child, and lastly, Container Bar.
Got you. And then did you use the same, like pretty much the same characteristics as in Pro Bar, or were you different using different themes?
Pearl Bar was totally different. It was in like a 1950s strip center. So it wasn't an ugly strip center. It still had characteristics, but I had at the time the Alamo movie was being made. So I had a lot of friends that worked on that. So I got a lot of the props that I used as sconces and whatnot in
Yeah.
Pearl Bar.
Hmm.
And also I had no money when I opened Pearl Bar. So I worked with exactly what I had, i.e., I didn't even have a POS system.
All right, all right. So let's go back to Pro Bar. That's a really interesting time. I
Yes, it
remember
was.
when you were telling me the story, I was like, I just want to learn more. So talk to me about your time in Europe when you were like taking a
Good.
trip and all that
When I
stuff, and
was
then
16,
coming back to Houston and then figuring out the idea of like, okay, I want to be in the bar business.
well, when I did Europe, I started at 16. I'd quit high school, went hitchhiked, and worked all around Europe, starting in London, where we kind of got kicked out. And then we went, the only place we didn't work was Turkey, but we worked and worked and worked, picked grapes, worked kitchens, bathrooms, bars, acted like we were a part of one of the bars in Greece was to act like we were clients and dancing and having fun. So to gain more, so when you look at an empty bar, it wasn't empty. We just did all sorts of things. But I would come home and, you get that's adrenaline too. You get that adrenaline, and I kept coming home making money, and I'd go back, kept doing that for a while. And while I was doing that, I was always working in a restaurant, which I didn't love, but they loved me, thank God, because I pulled a bunch of monkey business. But they continued to let me work there forever and ever, and leave for months, long times. And but then I came home and it would get boring. And then I didn't really know what to do because I didn't like school. So, I kind of floated and drifted and floated and drifted and floated and drifted. And then I thought I did a business plan for a friend, and I thought, why did I do that for him? I'll do that for myself. And I was a single mom, and my son was 3. So I did that. And by the time he was 5, I had Pearl Bar opened.
Okay. So you come from Europe, you get here, what time? 90s?
And also,
No. Like you get back so you're in Europe, working bar, restaurant, kitchen, everything.
picking grapes, cleaning toilets.
That's good. Love that. Then you come to the US when? 90s?
Oh, so I took these trips off and on. So sometimes I'd stay for 9 months, sometimes I'd stay for 6, 3. So I'd come back to Houston, work at the same restaurant. I would try to go to school, HCC every now and then, but that never worked out. So I just, I never wanted to be in Houston either. So when I finally had that success with Pro Bar, and it was hard. It was hard. I'm telling you, I was getting the workers from the corners of Home Depot.
Oh.
I caught them smoking crack with prostitutes one day right before they were about to finish the job, but the whole time I'm policing them if I catch them with crack and prostitutes, and I kicked them all out, but I needed more work. But just to get open, that I got some more guys from the corner. We got it finished, but the opening night, all of a sudden, there was like 3 feet of water filling up in the bar at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
What happened?
And those guys that I had fired with the prostitutes and crack shoved plumbing towels in all of the floor sinks and toilets.
Oh my God.
So it's been that's just the beginning, but
Yeah,
then I
that was your opening night, pretty much.
That was my opening night. But then, that night I had friends working with me. But after that, it was me by myself, being the bartender, the manager, the bouncer. I did have this one busboy guy that was really my rock for a while, and he was the one mopping up all that water at that first night.
Crazy.
And it was crazy. But I went from doing probably $800 a night to all of a sudden 28, 32 on the weekend, $32,000.
Wow. How did the investors take, like, let's say you're at the party and like that's our opening night, it's your big night, and that happens. What goes through your mind? And
they didn't know. I didn't say a peep. We're just mopping. He was mopping as fast as we could. So you don't tell people when that happens.
They never saw you sweat.
Nope, keep it together.
That's awesome. That's one of your main characteristics. Now I figured it out.
Which one?
That you don't let anybody see you sweat. And that's what makes you a great leader.
Well, thank you. Especially not at the beginning. Don't ever let them see you sweat. You're right. Don't.
So you start this bar, Pro Bar, and then how fast did it caught momentum? Where there were some nights that you were like, okay, this thing is not gonna work.
Yes.
Talk to me about
this was in a re-gentrifying area. And so all of these new townhomes were being built, and that's why I was like, I think I can make this work.
Mhm.
But there was nights when I was there by myself in the area, it was kind of scary. And there was a little bar across the street. But I had parking, they did not. And they would host the Insane Clown Posse. I don't know if you know what that is.
No idea.
It's a very interesting band with a very interesting set of people. I would be dead. There was nobody in my bar. They would all want to come use my parking, but I would have to fight with them, kick them out. They would say all sorts of things to me. But within 4 months, I had my investors paid back, which was $200,000. And from then on, they were pulling some shady business and I knew it, but I played with them until I didn't have to. Then I bought them out.
Mm. So
And
it took you 4 months to get it rolling.
4 months, and then the ballet line was about 14 deep.
Let's go.
With no POS system and just pure madness.
What was your investment? Like your first, like the first money that you invested in the pro bar?
280,000 total to get the doors.
And then that's investors included everything, right?
Everything included. Then I bought them out and then started, of course, buying a POS and building off of that so that I could have these $28,000, $32,000 nights.
So how do you negotiate something like, okay, this business picked up, I want to buy it from the investors? How do you negotiate that? How do you, because they're obviously making money. So how do you present that? How do you persuade them into, okay?
Oh, I didn't persuade. I was a bully. I went and took on one of the things they insisted on. These are guys I knew were Shormy. I knew them from high school.
Mm.
And they insisted on keeping the books. They had a business down the street, keep the books in their business down the street. Well, I just went and confiscated the books, gave them to a proper CPA, and that angered them. But then I had them on a couple of nasty things that they were doing behind the scenes, which they really couldn't fight with me about. So it was not about asking, it was about telling. Bye.
Oh.
And it's been enjoyable, guys, but it's time to go.
Yeah, you had a ton of leverage.
I did have leverage, and I knew that in order for me to get the doors open, I was going to have to engage with maybe somebody that was not so ethically right.
Okay.
You know?
Gotcha. And then how will you do that now? Like in terms of like if you go in business and you do a 59%, you own 59%, they own 49. How will you buy them out? Like how will you propose that to a person that, let's say, they do the right thing?
Well, now I can afford an attorney, and so I have that written in contracts. I just couldn't afford an attorney at that time.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
you put all these defaults in your contract if you're going into business with somebody. But even at this point, we have some of our bigger projects, which I've talked about to you. I don't like to share. And so I keep a core group of investors now that I know that don't have the idle time to go start monkey business, nor do they care to. They've got other lives.
Yeah.
And that's your best investor.
Interesting. Especially since you're letting them into your baby, which is your business.
Right, which I'm not in love with, but in order to grow quickly, sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to continue to live and move fast.
That's good. Speed is important. It's super important.
It is. It
So
is.
talking about speed, you go from Pro Bar, Houston, to a city like Austin. But back then, when you come here, like Rainey Street is not Rainey Street. You made Rainey Street, Rainey Street.
I was paying $2,000 a place for rent.
How did you were able to see the map and say, okay, this street is gonna be Rainey Street?
Well, when let me tell you something. When I left Pro Bar, there was 95 liquor licenses. So do you see the trend? Everybody saw that once they saw that Pro Bar was so successful, 95 others went to put a bar on this street. And that's what I mean. It was probably 5 times the size of Rainey. When I came to Austin, I saw that you could see the Four Seasons residential towers being built. You could see the Frost Tower building. I-35 was right here. the proximity was so close to everything, and there was nothing but bungalows there, and it was residential, but they had this whole, it was a fight, and it was a contentious issue with the people living there, the people that wanted to make the money then, and then the people that wanted to stay there. This had been a long-going feud, which I walked into with blind ignorance. So I see Lester's got this CBD, so it had already turned CBD, but what they wanted to do was what they're doing right now, but they wanted this in 2007, but they had the crash of the stock market, and nobody was loaning money, et cetera, so that's why it remained stagnant. I had made a little bit of cash in Houston, so I was able to come in and do what I did.
That's awesome. So you were from that group that in 2008 made a fortune pretty much with.
I made a lot of money.
Okay.
I had some to spend, shall we say.
So let's say you see Rainey Street and you're like, okay, I want this corner, this corner, this corner. What was your first theme on the bar? Like, okay, I want a bar that's gonna look like this. Like, what was your idea? Were you looking into the hippie side Austin, or more into like, okay, I want high end kind of a bar?
No, because first of all, I wanted to keep the integrity of those historic bungalows. Those are all historic, without being deemed historic, except for Container Bar had something historic. But I just wanted to keep the integrity, and so they were bungalows with pine floors, very simple. And again, I always do things on the cheap side because everybody just tears it up, and really, they just want a fun place. And I can do fun, and fun doesn't cost money. You just have to be creative. So I just went in there and did Luster Pearl and kept with the story and the characters in my head, and then just turned Clive into Luster's lover. And then across the street, we had their love child, and then Container on the corner across from Clive.
So that's the story of the names.
Pardon me?
That's the story of the names.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So they all happened the same year, or it was like
Clive and Lester were at the same year. Bar 96 was the following year, and Container Bar was quite the pest. She was 5 years later. They're all she's except for Clive.
This is awesome. So
yeah,
kind of like opening a new business, opening a new bar is opening a new business. So when do you decide to like go from like, okay, Luster's doing really good, but I want to open another one. Some people are scared about taking that other step about opening up another location because they feel like they're going to lose their momentum.
Well,
how do you determine if you're ready for an expansion?
Well, I think if you're scared, being an entrepreneur is not for you. This is not a glamorous job, and it's all risky. It's all about gambling. And when I opened Luster and Clive that same year, we had the same weather we had this year. It was cold, windy, and rainy. And I totally was starting to make a little money at Luster when Clive did open. And that I took my audience at Luster and split it in two. So, and with a terrible winter, I didn't know. I was like, oh, wow. I hope I recover from this. I did. And I had already had Bar 96. So I just keep moving. I'm going to say that's one of my traits. I'm a gambling woman. I'll go for it all. Let's just go. Let's roll it and see what comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, those are bold moves, especially since you already have a clientele, then just opening a bar next to it right the same year.
Same year.
So did you ever struggle with the bars in Rainey?
I did.
What's your toughest time there?
Pardon me?
What's the toughest time there?
That was one of the toughest times, aside from the time I'm having right now with the construction and them doing what they are right now. Yeah, I'm going through the same thing, different levels, but the same thing right now that I did in 2009.
Yeah.
Now we're 2023 and they're finally getting to do what they wanted, and I'm feeling the pain.
Yeah. But I mean, You always move past it. You have proven.
Thanks. You have, this is my thing, and I've always known this, but sometimes I even have to read it to myself. You've got to endure the really low lows
Mm,
when you have a complicated life that you've gratefully, I'm very grateful that you've had a lot of triumphs as well. It's a roller coaster, and if it wasn't a coaster, you wouldn't be so grateful for those highs coming back up. But you have to sit in those lows too, and the lows hurt.
mm.
But they're such a learning tool. They give you such great perspective, and they make you grateful and kind of smarter. Not that you can't, the future is what it is. You can't control that, as you know, but it also makes you have more thinking points when you go through another low. You know, like I would have never known all of the construction would devastate my Lester Rainey and Clive. Nobody wants to go down. The street is so hard to get to now.
It
You know,
is.
how was I to know? I wasn't. But now I'm thinking, why didn't I think about that? It was inevitable, you know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Because
You got to go high to go low to go high.
we do have some clients there, and we have in the park like 2 streets over to be able to get to Rainy. There's an apartment, like a condominium,
Oh,
a condo for the cleaning.
mhm.
And we're having a park two streets, you know.
Oh, yeah, I do know. I
Yeah.
can't even go down there. It breaks my heart, but I do, but I don't. But yes, you got to have those lows to get those highs. That's part of the business.
You move the quickest, so I'm sure it will never catch you. One thing
That
I wanted to ask.
catches me. I promise it catches everybody.
Hmm,
It does.
okay.
It's part of it.
You get to from Pro Bar to Rainy Street. What was your investment on the first bar?
On Rainy,
Yeah.
Lester,
Yeah.
I think I spent maybe 100 to get her open.
Okay.
Maybe 899 to 100. I mean, I'm sorry, a million,
Okay.
800 to a million
Okay. Cash or some of
cash.
it was cash.
No, it was all cash. It was just me.
You didn't want to get investors in, nothing. It was you.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
As long as I have the cash, I'm not.
And you didn't want a bank involved, nothing.
I had bad credit. I didn't know. I had bad credit. I didn't even know. I love it.
How important is credit? Now that we're talking about that, you're a pretty successful
It's
woman. How
it's
how important is
it's
credit?
everything. It's everything.
Hmm.
I don't think then I didn't think maybe I wasn't sophisticated enough or I didn't even think I could go to a bank, but my credit was bad. I didn't even care. I had a ton of cash.
Uh-huh.
But I'll tell you, credit is imperative because I would laugh that I had all the cash, especially during that time, but my credit was bad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is, but it's imperative to keep your credit good, even
So
though it's.
so you invested $1 million in the first one. What about the second one? Do you go
I
lower?
was about 1.2.
Okay, so you're always reaching more. And then
Well, it just with the inflation and everything, it just
um,
continues to rise.
gotcha. Gotcha. How that was back then. So today, what's the cash flow of this bars monthly?
To get one open,
Like, no. What was the cash flow of the bars whenever you opened up, like your first months, compared
oh,
to where the cash flow is at today?
okay. So right when I opened Luster Pearl, we were doing $800 nights, like the first week. Then we were doing $6,000 nights. Then we're doing $12,000 nights. Then we're doing 23. Then we're up to 32, 48, $52,000.
And that's like the weekend, or are you counting like weekdays too? Okay, weekend. So that's per location, or that's like per
per
per per.
per location.
Okay. Oh, and then your most successful one, you will say is Clive.
You mean Clive as of today
Yeah,
or in
that's up
general?
to there.
Clive, he's the biggest, he's the newest.
And which one's your favorite one?
I can't say that. They're like children. That you're really looking to screw a kid up,
Yeah.
backlash.
That's good. And if you were to do it all over again, Bridget, knowing what
Yes.
you know today, how would you
Mhm.
start being a businesswoman all over again?
I can't change who I am, so I don't think, I would like to say I would be more sophisticated, more graceful, less reactionary, etc., with
Uh-huh.
the positives and the negatives that come with those adjectives I just used. But I don't think doing it any differently. I don't think I would change a thing,
Mm,
even the hard.
yeah. I mean, it brought you to where you're at right now.
Right.
It's funny because most successful people that I do ask that question, they always say they wouldn't change a thing. Like when we get to your point, like we come a time in which we're super grateful for the things that happen, even if it didn't go the way that we wanted. But back then we were like, why did this
I
happen?
know. I know.
Right.
I know it's devastating at the time, but if you, again, I'm going back to those lows and highs, you get such a perspective of gratitude and the hard work, or why didn't I think of this, or why didn't I think of this when it's low,
Hmm.
that when you just keep on, when that low time is gone and you go back up and you've got triumph again, you've learned these new things, but I don't know, it's cyclical. It's an interesting ride.
Hmm. How do you know what business to get into? How do you know what's right for you?
I just always say I blame it on my intuition and my big nose.
Your big nose.
Yeah,
What
I
do
can
you
smell anything. I'm serious.
what do you mean by big nose?
Look at my nose, it's big.
Oh, I thought
Like,
nose.
and
Like
oh
like
no, like
no.
I'm taking notes. No, I'm
No, no,
talking
like nose, like I said no to a lot of things. Ah, the nose.
no,
Now,
nose, like
so you can smell things.
intuition, gut. I smell my snout. I always call it my snout. I'm like, let me smell on this, and I just go in and smell it. I'm like, oh no, thanks. Or yes, yes. And it only takes me 2 seconds.
Mm,
I don't even when I got Lester Pearl, the landlord, I just walked in and looked around. I just walked to the first room and he goes, what do you think? And I'm like, I'll take it. How much? And he goes, you didn't even look at the whole thing. I'm like, I don't need to.
mm,
And he laughs that I wrote him a check for $10,000.
uh-huh.
And he looked at the check, and I had already gotten in my car and left. I didn't get a receipt. I didn't get a lease. I didn't get an LOI. I didn't get anything.
Nothing.
So that's not being really sophisticated, but it's also, this guy wasn't gonna screw me over anyway. I knew it. So,
It's
but
your
it's just
intuition. You have good intuition.
I do, and it's that snout. It's the intuition, the snout, the gut, and anybody that feels like something in their gut, go with it, because I believe that you're going to be right
Yeah.
97% of the time.
So trust your gut at all times.
Absolutely. And I've used that tool where it frustrates the general manager, our guy that does all of the runs, all the guy that oversees everything. I'll
Mm.
say, I know there's some things that aren't going right at this place, and I'll go and flip mattresses like a parole prison guard, and it upsets him. He's like, let me go look at the camera footage, let me go look at this, and I'm like, you don't have to, but he does,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I'm right.
That's good. That's your superpower for sure. Now,
I'm gonna
talking about intuition, when we met, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about, oh, you left your bag, you remember? In the rest.
Yeah,
So
I always do that. My phone.
so we had a really great conversation.
Mhm.
So since you have good intuition, what did you felt about me? Why do you gave me your business card?
Well, I thought you were a smart entrepreneur wanting to learn. I felt like you were a legitimate person talking, sharing your story, sharing what you wanted to accomplish, sharing your work ethic. We talked about all of those things.
Yeah,
I know when people are real.
that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, if you have good intuition, I just wanted to see what did you see? Because I mean, that's everything in business, right? Like, let's say I do a lot of door knocking and I go knock on the door, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, like we're coming to the house to like clean, and all of a sudden there's a transaction. So, and I've met a lot of good friends now. They became fans and then friends through that. So I'm always curious, like you said, to learn
I
what.
think I think people that have that, or what you're giving off to is legitimate. It's not shwarmy, or you come off with a person that has ethics and mores, which is
Exactly.
important. That's who you want to work with, obviously.
That's everything. How when picking who to work with now, I know you have a big staff. I mean, to pull all this off, there's gotta be people involved. What do you look for in people, and when do you decide to actually hire somebody and work with that person?
Well, it's still kind of along the lines that I'm telling you about right now.
Mhm.
When I used to hire, I don't really hire anymore, but when I used to hire managers or something, I would do an open call, watch everybody walk in, see who was first, see who was last, see who followed directions, see how they were dressed, see if they smelled like cigarettes, see if they looked me in the eye. It's those easy, basic things, and then talk to them. For example, the guy I'm telling you about that is my director of operations. I watched him walk in. He was the latest. He was dressed properly. He had 2 copies of his resume. Um, I talked to him for 2 minutes and just closed my resume, and I said, okay, thank you. I already knew,
Mm,
and he's been with me. We just celebrated our 11th anniversary.
that's awesome.
It is.
How important is money for you, Bridget?
I like it.
You like it?
Yes, it is. It's not everything, because you could be a miserable wretch with a lot of money, and
Mhm.
that's not going to, it doesn't bring you happiness. I always say it's a platform for freedom. It's a platform to minimize stressors around you. And it gives you the freedom to do what you'd like to do. And hopefully it's good acts, good fun, good whatever, but it's a platform for freedom. But it's not everything. I have been so poor and happy. I've had money and been happy.
Mhm.
I'm on the downside of things. I'm happy. I'm grateful.
Mhm.
Everybody has a story, and a story that they've lived, and I think that's one of the most important things. To like money, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. To like, for it to be your everything, and if you don't have that, then you don't have anything. I think that's really a sad
Yeah,
person or life. I mean,
exactly. The reason why
but
I ask you that question is because many people say money is evil, but at the
I,
same time, I don't think that way.
I don't either. I think money is a platform for freedom, and who doesn't want to be free? I
Yeah.
want to be. I want to be able to send my kid to the best school that he can get into. You know, I
Mhm.
want to give my kid the best education. I want to. I want some fun things. I want to see the world. I want to, that affords you to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I want to help people. I want to do things like that too. And if you don't have a lot of resources, it's hard. You can go volunteer, but I can pick and choose who I want to help. I love it. But
Yeah.
it's not everything. I'm still very grateful for the things that money can't buy. And those are great friends and family, good family, you know. So
Good.
I like both. And I'm not afraid to say that either.
Would you say the life that you envisioned as a young entrepreneur has become a reality?
Yes.
Wow.
But it's not for the faint of heart. You have got to be brave and strong and a gambler and ready to work your ass off.
Huh.
You cannot be afraid of working.
How many times did you envision that? Did you tell yourself you were gonna get to your goals?
A lot. I'm a survivor. I
Mm.
didn't have any parental help. I didn't have any. I love it when people think I come from a trust fund. It makes me laugh. It's so hysterical to me. But It's funny.
That's
It's
funny.
funny what people say too, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a good thing. And I feel like I'm still not done. I'm still not done. I mean, aside from the 2 projects, I feel like I'm taking a quiet time right now because of, what I've gone through recently.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of regrouping, refocusing, and I don't want this to come off as greedy, but I'm going to get something bigger as
Yeah.
well. I don't know what yet.
It's what I would expect from you. Honest.
Yeah, good.
Honestly, what I expect.
I like it.
I would be disappointed if you tell me you're done. It's like Kobe Bryant. Job's never done. There's always.
No, I mean, I did get fired from my husband for bad attitude. So my assistant and my staff are gonna finish the other 2 projects. That's how I know that I've got something on the horizon that is bigger than I could ever fathom
Hmm.
or put together, which
Love it.
I love.
Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah, I do.
I'm here for the show. I'm here to see.
Okay. I like that. Yes,
Awesome with
absolutely.
that. Hey, thank you so much for your time. I always learn. Even when we service your house and get a 5-minute talk with you, I feel like I'm always learning. I love having people like you in my life, that I can reach out even for advice or just for a small talk, but really
Sure.
appreciate
Always, always, always. I'm always here to answer questions. I always want to help people like you achieve their dreams, but they're not pipe dreams because you're working hard to make them a reality, and that's what counts. And that's how you get there.
Yeah. Every day. How it
Easy as that.
is. Let's go. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Say hi to your
Thank you very
husband
much.
and
Okay,
keep
take care.
recovering. Although I
Oh,
see you well. Like last time we met, you gave me that handshake. I was like, this woman's ready for business.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Just not Muay Thai. One more month.
1 more month. Okay.
I'll be back sparring with my 30-year-old Adam. Out.
Don't get yourself injured again.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah, we'll get back at it.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'll see you
You're
again.
welcome.
So much.
Absolutely. Okay. You got it. Take care. Bye-bye.